Hey YouTube, it's Jacob from Barton's Woodworking. In today's video, I'm going to address my clamp wall. Well, clamp floor, I guess. So I'm going to see if I can use my scrap plywood and turn it into something nice.
Now that I've made a mess, I'm going to organize these pieces of scrap and decide what looks usable for this project. I really don't have any plans made up for this, I just have an idea of what I would like the supports to look like. I don't have a large selection of clamps as I'm still accumulating tools and clamps little by little. But I was getting tired of these sitting on the floor in my way or falling over. If you're looking for a nice fancy clamp rack, this isn't the video for you. But if you're looking for some nice woodworking furniture projects, check out the other videos on my channel. With a few pieces selected from the pile of scraps, I need to take some measurements. I'm going to hang two different style parallel clamps and then make a rack for a few smaller clamps of different styles. I moved on to cutting the supports out with a jigsaw, cutting a pattern in it that gave me two identical pieces that would make up the supports for the clamps. I rounded over the edges with some sandpaper before I lined everything up and marked the locations for the screws. Then I pre-drilled and added some screws to connect everything. I had to double check and make sure that the clamps would fit as I designed, and then after that it was off to installing the clamp rack to the wall. I used 4 screws here because the last thing I want is the clamps to end up back on the floor. That's the entire reason I'm doing this project in the first place. I repeated the same steps and I made more than one of these clamp racks so I could organize my clamps by length and so that I would have extra space to grow my collection of clamps in the future. The old saying goes, you can never have enough clamps. Next I turned my attention to the aluminum bar clamps and the miscellaneous group of clamps. For this I am going to make a clamp rack where the pieces slide onto the wood and use the wood to hold themselves up. I don't really think I can explain this without it getting confusing, so I'm just going to let the video roll and you'll see how I do this. And of course this piece of scrap was a bit extra with some walnut face framing on it. After I got all the slots cut out for the clamps, I added a board to the bottom with screws and glues. This will give me an area to drive the screws into the wall to hold this clamp rack up. Now I can add this clamp rack to the wall to join the other two. This quick weekend clamp rack project is now a wrap. What's nice about these is that they are small and not one giant clamp rack, so if I need to move them or reorganize the area or whatever, they are small enough that I can easily move them. One important thing in a small shop is getting things off the floor and onto the walls. This helps keeps the space feeling open and less cluttered. Hopefully one day soon I can do a shop tour for y'all. I work out of a single car garage and the car gets parked in every night, so taking advantage of the wall space I have is very important.
Well, I think I can officially say I now have a wall clamp rack and not a floor full of clamps. If you're still watching, thanks for sticking around as I turn some scrap plywood into 2 different style clamp racks. If you enjoyed this video, please consider hitting that subscribe button or giving me a thumbs up as that helps me out. Thanks again for watching, I hope to see you on the next build.